So in the previous video, I got all the carpeting fitted here in a little Reno bug. And I can report today that my brownie points with the deer swimmer is very high and that I've been fed well. So I'm going to cash in on the situation. So I haven't worked on my 1959 REO Gold Comet car hauler project in such a long time. So I think today my mission is going to be to make a start on building a new grill insert up there. Now I do have the original one. Let me just stick it in here so you can see what it looks like. There you go. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't particularly like the look of this. So I want to change it. And I've got an idea of something I want to try. So I think I'm going to take this to the bench and cut all of this out for a start. I'm going to leave this around and I'm going to get rid of all of this. Yes. But you see, sometimes when I was cutting, the grinder was kind of biting and wanting to twist. That's because of the bolt intention in a piece like this. So yeah, you got to be careful. Because if this thing twists too much, that blade will shatter. I'm sure some of you older guys have had that happen. Not a nice thing. Right, so now what, Duffy? Well, for a start, I've created something that's quite floppy. I think what I'm going to do is cut some flat bar. You can bolt in along here on both sides. I've cut this piece of flat bar now. That will drop in like that on both sides. And I want to attach this with bolts, but I wasn't sure exactly where to drill my holes. So what I did was I spent way too much time making up this little cardboard template just to do a layout, and you can probably deduct that I'm planning to do louvers. More about that just now. But now I can see where I need to drill my holes. And I also know how many louvers to make. I mean, I counted a total of 18 of them. Alright. I'm going to use my template to locate the holes on my flat bar piece. Sure, that drill is quite blunt. I think I need to go and sharpen it quickly. Yes, that looks a lot better. Ah yes, that's a bit better. Just thinking now, if you guys would like me to make a video about how to sharpen your drill bits, yeah, let me know and we can make a plan for that. Right, so this fellow can now bolt on like that. I've got these flat bars bolted on each side. Now, as I said, I'm planning to make these louvers that run across. So, you know, something to that effect at equal spacings all the way down the line. Yeah, like I said as well, I counted 18 of them that I need as I worked out here on my template to set something like this. So the material that I'm planning to use for this is this stuff, aluminium flat bar. Now this material is not available everywhere in the world because the way I understand it, in the USA you cannot buy the aluminium with the I in it. This is 38 millimeters wide, inch and a half. Thickness is 5 millimeters, which is what, 3/16, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to cut me 18 pieces that can fit in across here like that. I'm going to use my woodworking chop saw for cutting the stuff. Fit it with a tungsten carbide blade, cuts it well. I've been doing it for years. Although what I do is I keep my one blade dedicated for aluminium only, and I've got other blades for if I want to do fine woodwork. Oh, and by the way, it cuts both aluminium and aluminum. Okie dokie, so the plan now is to have these chappies sitting something like this. So I've now got to figure out a way to mount them and hold them in place. "36 of these little tabs, boring stuff. And the reason why I've cut them all by hand, the blade here on my cut-off machine is finished, it's had it, and I haven't got another blade. So the plan now is to weld on these tabs, something like this, at the correct spacing. And I'm just thinking now it's probably a better thing to drill all the holes first. It'll just be so much easier. Jeez, why do I dream up this stuff? Yeah, the prospect of marking and punching and drilling 36 individual holes did not appeal. So I quickly made this little jig from some offcuts that I can clamp into drill press vise. Now my little piece of plate can go in like that and it can be located. And I should be able to drill them all quite quickly and accurately. The plan now is to weld on these little tabs, all of them, lots of them, like this, at an angle and equally spaced. So I think it's time to make another little jig to help me do that. So I came up with this little contraption. It's just a piece of flat bar cut at 45 degrees. Then I tacked on these 2 bits of angle bar. So this will now help me to locate the angle that I want. So I can clamp that on, and then my little tab can locate right there. Clamp that on like that. Now we can tack weld that one, and once that one is into place, we can then move this whole business along. The width of the flat bar will help me with the spacing for getting the next one into place, which will go right there. Let's see how it turns out. And on 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 until I had them all tack welded in place, and then I also fully welded them. So now I've got to make the mirror one for the other side. Now it is critical that these tabs line up exactly, otherwise my louvers are going to sit skew. So I decided to use my first piece as a kind of a jig for making the second one. And then I made another little jig, this one right here. So I clamped that onto the first one, and now my little tab can clamp on there. I can tack weld that, and then I know that they are properly lined up as it should be, and we will be good. Another little problem developed now. I ran out of gas for the TIG welder, and town is a long way away, and I'm not going on another shopping trip until next week, so I'm going to have to finish this with the MIG welder. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. A little bit of philosophy brought to you by old Banana Fingers himself. Right, I've got it done, and yeah, as you can see, the MIG welding is a lot messier than the TIG. There's weld spatter everywhere and stains and whatnot. And I hate weld spatter, so I guess I'm gonna have to clean this up a little bit. And it's also hotter. I mean, this one warped a little bit, much more than the one that I TIG welded. Look, this one is a banana, just like my fingers, and if I turn it this way, There's also some twisting and bowing and bending and whatnot. So a little manipulation will be required to get it all nice and straight again. This gizmo works so well to remove weld spatter and other imperfections in tight spots like this. I believe they call it a file sander or maybe a narrow belt sander. Very handy little device, so yeah, if you can purchase one, good investment. Okay, lekker man, so I can bolt my brackety thing in here now with these tiny little bolts. And then we can move on to the next step to see how that's going to turn out. Can't wait actually. If I can just get this little nut on there with my banana fingers. And now it's the tedious process of fitting these flat bars. Check the length. If that's good, mark it. Drill it, countersink it, and bolt it in place over and over and over again. Stainless steel can be sometimes a real bitch, so I'm just putting a little bit of copper compound on my threads. Yeah, I think they call it galling of the threads. I don't know if I say that right. Now I can screw this on into those holes I tapped earlier. So like I said, I'm using stainless steel. These are countersunk cap screws, courtesy of my friends at Mesco Engineering Supplies. Thank you guys. So you may wonder why I'm drilling and marking each one individually. Well, you know what, there has to be discrepancies here in the spacing of all these holes. This is not CNC stuff, eh? The only computer around here is a collection of rather worn out brain cells, and highly likely that there's quite a number of damaged ones between all of them from years of breathing the wrong kind of fumes. Getting there, only 4 more to go. Persistence, Duffy, persistence. And I got the last one in place. Hallelujah. Yes, this was a time-consuming business. And my material didn't quite work out, so I had to use 2 shorter pieces for these 2 bottom ones. Now, I don't have a machine that can weld aluminium, remember? So I had to join them like this, just with a backing piece and a couple more bolts. Yeah, in the perfect world, you would just go out and buy another length of the stuff. But I don't live in a perfect world. So I don't think you'll see it in the big picture. Let's go and fit this thing to find out. I can't wait. So if I have to be honest with you, I have started wondering whether I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. But we'll soon know. Let's just get it in here and then I can stand back and have a look at it. Yeah, something like that. I think I must just get some bolts in here before it falls down. Well, there you have it. First reaction from my side. Definitely looks a lot better than what I had before. You might argue that it looks quite modern. But let's just discuss some visual effects quickly, if I can put it like that. So if you put these bars horizontal like I did, it will actually make the truck look a little bit lower. If you put them vertical, it will be the opposite and it will look a little bit taller. Let's take a quick look at a few examples of, shall we call it, grille orientation. Here on my 51 Chevy truck, old flytrap, horizontal. The 39 Hudson, horizontal as well. The grille here on old crackpot, my 1976 butchered F100, vertical. This 37 Chevy, vertical. The highly customized 1955 Comet grille here on Triple R, my recovery rig, horizontal. And then you get a combination of the two, horizontal and vertical. This is a grille from a terraplane that I've got up here outside the shop as yard art. On the 46 Chevy truck, also a combination of horizontal and vertical. So it would seem to be a case of whatever makes your boat float. Yeah, I think it's cool. I like it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments what your opinion is. I always enjoy hearing everybody's opinions, as you know. As for that joint I made, or joints, there's two of them, you can actually only see it when you stand really close to the truck and you look kind of down. But effectively it's hidden behind the front bumper, because when you stand back you don't see it at all. The other joint is further down, so you can't even see it no matter where you stand. So that worked out okay. Here you can see, if you just stand back a little bit, yeah, it's disappeared, you don't see it. Now of course I've still got to take this whole thing apart again, get some paint on it. My thoughts are actually to paint this whole outside surrounding part sort of satin black as well. I reckon that will make this pop out more, and also the REO letters. And yes, I do have that missing E. It's been hidden in a special place for a long time. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Take it out, rip it apart, get some paint on it, and then we can see the final result. So before taking this thing apart, I've gone to the trouble of numbering my louvers, and that way I will know which one goes where, so that it goes back to its original position. Reference. Everything is relative to reference. If you know that and apply that, life is a lot easier. Even this dude had a lot to say about reference. And he was way cleverer than me. Now, of course, aluminium and aluminum can have a very highly polished finish. And I'm sure some of you would like to see more shine here. I've got a plan. You would need a buffing machine, you would need some polishing potions, and I will make the coffee, and you can shine it as much as you want until you are happy with it. Me? I'm done. My life is too short now for such frivolous affairs. From a cold forest workshop, that's my story this week. I'll see you oaks in the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me, and as always, have a lucky one, my brothers and sisters.